54 years ago this weekend, the United States Supreme Court struck down all legal barriers to interracial marriage. We've come a long way since then. But as Rita Braver reports, there are some barriers that still remain.
Corn and green beans, watermelon, all
When
that stuff
Friends
is good.
introduced Carlos Brock to Tanya Bohannon in 1996, they both just knew.
Oh man, it was just something about her, the vibe that she put off. I was like, that's what I want to marry.
He was really nice. He was different than anybody that I had ever dated before. He was just very genuine and kind.
When your parents realized that you were seriously interested in someone from a different race, what was their response?
My mother wasn't, she was cool with it, but there's some still today don't accept it, but we don't care.
Sorry. I still get emotional. It's been many years.
Who gave you a hard time about it?
I don't want to say, but it was someone very close to me that basically just disowned me.
The Brocks married in 2000 with their daughter Lexi in the wedding party.
It was just about being happy with each other.
But even today, Tanya, who is a mail carrier,
I need 5 barbecue sandwich.
and Carlos, who owns a food truck,
What you want, the barbecue or ribs?
Barbecue.
say there are still places in their hometown of rural Toccoa, Georgia, where they know they are not welcome. And people, even supposed friends, who can make unsettling comments.
People always feel it necessary to say that they're not racist, to us. And that they don't teach their children to notice color or anything. But in the same 30-minute conversation, the man says, but if my daughter came home saying that she was dating a black man, I wouldn't approve of it. Unfortunately, it's just still so normal.
But some things have changed in the half-century since the Loving versus Virginia case, when the U.S. Supreme Court declared that laws banning interracial marriage are unconstitutional.
Feels so great.
I feel free now.
Nowadays, you can hardly open a magazine
Quite the pair.
Just like us.
or turn on the TV without seeing interracial couples.
English, please. Are you getting married?
According to the Pew Foundation, at least 19% of new marriages in the U.S. now involve spouses from different ethnic or racial groups, up from 11% in 2000. And the General Social Survey found that only 1 in 10 Americans would oppose a close relative marrying someone of a different race or ethnicity. But that doesn't mean that tension has disappeared.
Are interracial marriages more difficult?
They can be because they're more multi-layered. There comes into play a lot more barriers than what a non-interracial couple will have to face.
With a PhD in couple and family therapy, Racine Henry frequently counsels interracial couples. She says that no one should be surprised by what Meghan Markle recently told Oprah Winfrey about the royal family's reaction to the impending birth of Markle and Prince Harry's son.
So we have in tandem the conversation of he won't be given security, he's not going to be given a title, and also concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
No matter how much status or money or privilege you might have, racism is always going to find you.
Henry says that message echoes the racism shown by many families across every social and economic level.
Because we can't have a mixed-race child in our lineage?
Yeah, because it means too much to us that our bloodline is going to look very different than what it's supposed to look like.
And she says at this moment in history, many interracial couples in the U.S. are feeling increased anxiety with heated public debate on issues involving racial justice, immigration, even direct attacks on minority groups.
What do you say to the couple to try to diffuse something like that?
Well, I first try to validate the partner who feels aggrieved. And I think it's a powerful moment for the white partner to realize that their feelings are secondary, their partner's experiences, whether they agree with them or not, needs to be taken as serious and as true as their own experiences are.
Case in point,
I realized about myself that I do need to learn in order to be more supportive.
Brian Law and Vidya Rao say in the early days of their relationship, he often didn't understand when she felt that someone had been disrespectful to her, at least in part because of race.
I'd be all upset and huffing and slamming the door and pissed. And he's like, wait, what just happened? It's been over the course of 8 years of me, being honest when these things happen, pointing them out. The best thing about him is that he was open to that and he did learn.
Now living in LA, they met while working at a media company. He was from a Louisiana Catholic family. She was a Hindu whose parents were born in India.
Do you think as you were growing up, your parents had expectations that you were going to marry someone else of Indian descent?
It was sort of a given. My parents had an arranged marriage, and they literally met for the first time 3 hours before their wedding.
But Vidya and Brian's parents all accepted their decision to marry. Still, she informed him that he needed to show appreciation for her mother's Indian cooking.
One of the first times I did meet her family, her mom made me dosa. And dosa you eat with your hands, and I just dug straight in and did it. I think that is part of my Southern culture, is that we eat with our hands. So
He ended up going 4 rounds, which my mom loved. I mean, that was the key to her heart.
Little love, a little love.
Tim Long, a pianist and conductor who grew up in Oklahoma's Muskogee Creek Nation, and Chris Herbert, a classical singer from Connecticut, fell in love over their love of music.
Although we have completely different backgrounds, there was something that connected us pretty immediately.
Their families mostly approved, with Chris's aunt, Martha Stewart, throwing them a fabulous wedding party. But along the way,
I had a family member who made a stereotypical derogatory action. I don't even want to describe it because it adds power to it.
With this one specific one, I was quite angry. It led to a lot of conversations between the two of us. It eventually opened up a great conversation with the family, and it brought us closer together.
now married for 11 years, they're still adjusting to each other's ethnic traditions.
I was trained as a child. When you meet somebody new, you smile at them, you ask them lots of questions about themselves.
That's largely a Caucasian American manner, that you smile when you don't necessarily mean it. And I don't think many indigenous people decide to smile. They smile when the emotion calls it up.
Long and Herbert have decided not to become parents.
All right, you guys right there.
But for many interracial couples, the issue of children brings its own set of joys and challenges, especially worries about how their children will be treated, which brings us back to the Brock family and daughter Lexi.
You know, like kids in middle school are mean, and so then it's like, you're too white, or you're too black, or you're a mutt.
A mutt?
Yeah.
How did you react when people said stuff like that to you?
It hurt, you know, at first, and like, why are we not good enough, you know? Because my skin's tan. That's your justification of that, you know?
But the number of multiracial Americans is steadily rising. And so is the visibility of bi or multiracial role models. First Barack Obama, and now Kamala Harris.
When they called the race, you know, and they were all outside. I mean, that was monumental for me. I saw little tiny girls crying, but like I cried too, you know, because that was the first time.
And the Brocks and other interracial families nationwide understand that history is marching with them. Because in the end, love really can conquer just about everything.
What's been the great part of your relationship for both of you?
We just have a good time.
The greatest thing for me about it is, I would have to say, the happiness.